Hi and welcome. I'm John and this is Unique Wargaming. Guys, welcome back. For everyone that's new, this is another one of the rule videos that I did. I did one last week. This is another one I've been asked a few questions by you guys. Can I explain this? Can I explain that? This is another one of those videos to explain transports and vehicles in this video. So for all my regulars here, guys, I feel love. Thank you very much. I'll see you in a minute. Right, so in 40k we have, there are obviously tanks, vehicles, you know, that sort of thing. But just because it's a tank or tanks, vehicles, all that sort of all those sort of stuff all fall in the same category of vehicles, really. But there are different. When I say different types, I mean we've got the Night Spinner here, which is it's a vehicle, but it's an Eldari vehicle. So see how that's got a flying stand and it hovers above the ground and everything else. And we've got Rhinos. Okay, it's a tank, but they're all vehicles. We've got the bloke drones, they're vehicles as well, but they have other rules like fly and stuff like that. So that's the first thing with vehicles. The second thing is some vehicles can transport troops. Okay, straight off the top of the head, nice and easy. For the Eldari, you have the Wave Serpent, which is dedicated transport, and you have the Falcon Grav Tank, which is another data sheet. Same with the Space Marines, you have the Rhino, which is a dedicated transport. I think they have the Impulsor as well, which is dedicated transport. But you also have a Land Raider, which can transport troops. Now, the Land Raider can't transport as much troops, but it's more heavily armoured and better saving for everything else. You also have things in the Drukhari army like the Venoms. They can carry X amount of troops. I think they're dedicated transports. Whereas the Raiders are just normal units. Leagues of Boltan, they have the Cicatars. And I think the Land Fortress can carry troops as well. But again, the same sort of similar scenario as to the Space Marines with the Rhino and Land Raider. Now, that's that little bit. One thing with transports as well, some of them have what's called firing deck. So that means that a certain amount of models can shoot out of that vehicle. So I think an Impulsor has 5 firing deck, or 5, I think so. A Rhino has a firing deck of 2. So in this scenario, I'm going to show you down here, the Rhino can have 2 of the guys that are inside shoot. Okay, as well as the Rhino shooting all his weapons as well, because a firing deck is like an extra weapon basically. So a tactical squad in the Rhino is pretty good, because if you've got a heavy weapon and say a plasma gun or a melter gun or something, you can fire both those out of the tank, and the tank's protecting the guys inside. Now, I'm going to bring you down and run you through a few little bits and pieces, and then what I want to do is show you one way of attacking a vehicle, an enemy vehicle with troops inside, smashing that vehicle, hopefully it does on camera, smashing that vehicle, and then being able to attack or kill the guys that come out of it in the same turn. Okay, this is next level stuff, guys. Right, so here we have a Space Marine Rhino. I apologise that it's only undercoated, because this is going to be a chaos one. I haven't finished messing around with it. But anyway, this is a Space Marine Rhino. There's a 10-man tactical squad inside. Okay, I feel a piece of terrain here, just to use as my example. Now, I've got the guy on top to represent the 10 guys that are inside. So I don't forget, if I have multiple Rhinos or multiple transports on the table, you don't forget who's in it. You can also have the guy behind. So you just know that he's units in that vehicle. Now, there's a lot of things to do with vehicles, and there's some new rules that come out with vehicles, with pivoting and stuff like that. Okay, now when a vehicle is on like this and it pivots, it's got to lose some of its movement. Okay, so it can't just drive around. Well, it can, but you'd have to measure it from this back end to spin it round, and wherever that ends, that's what yeah. that's a little bit complicated for me to try and explain here, but you'll get the gist of it as I'm going along. Now, so the Rhino has a 12-inch movement, and yes, this is the old data card. It's all the same. I don't know why they just, I don't know, but it's all the same anyway. So it's 12-inch movement, toughness 9, 3+ armor save, 10 wounds, leadership 6+, and objective control 2. Okay, as with the last well, these videos that I did on show data cards, is weapons, it's melee attacks, it's abilities and rules, firing deck of 2. Deadly demise D3, so when it blows up, if it blows up, it's D3 damage, mortal wounds to everything within 6 inches. But this self-repair rule ability means that he heals 1 wound per command phase. Now, so what we're going to do now is the Rhino is going to move over to the objective. Okay, so if you're moving it straight, okay, very simple, very straightforward, very simple, 12-inch move. Because I want to move it over here, I've got to measure it from here. I'm not going to be able to do this with the camera in my hand. I have to measure it from this side, sort of like that. Yeah. So let me just have it at the end there. So you see us at the end. You can see where it ends. So the back end of that Rhino should be where that tape measure is there. Okay. Some people try and do it like this, but you're missing the pivotal movement. Okay. So I'm going to move that over and then show you how to get the guys out. Right. So move the Rhino. Now, when the transport has guys inside, sorry, there's one thing I forgot. With dedicated transports like the Rhino, it has to start the game with models inside to transport. If it doesn't, it's destroyed. Okay, that's a rule, but everyone always starts with stuff in the vehicle, so it's not even one to really think about. Now, when you move the Rhino, like I've just moved him, the guys can then jump out, but they can't move after that until your next turn. Let's say with the Rhinos back here, and there was a unit over here where the dice are, and I wanted to attack those, but I wanted to take the objective. What I would do is pile the guys out. Because the Rhino hasn't moved, the guys can still move then and shoot. I mean, they can jump out and shoot now, but they could move, shoot, charge. And then the Rhino would move forward onto the objective with no one inside it. Now, it doesn't matter if the Rhino doesn't have anyone to start. It doesn't have anyone inside it like now or after the guys jump out, because it started the game with guys inside it. That's the key thing about dedicated transport. They have to start the game with troops inside. So when your guys jump out, okay, and this is the same when a vehicle explodes, which I'll go through in a little while, they have to be set up wholly within 3 inches of said vehicle. This is a very key thing, because some people will add 3 inches to the movement and put them, that side, and then move off as normal if the vehicle hasn't moved. But that's a big difference. You see 3 inches from there, just outside the objective. There's a big difference when you're piling all your guys along here and some of them not wholly within 3 inches. Now, Space Marine's on a 32mm base. 32mm base is too deep. So I'm going to pile the guys out and show you, how that works. Right, so they are wholly within 3 inches, okay, of said vehicle, all the way around. Any point of the hull, they'll be within 3 inches of. Now, in terms of like wave serpents and grav tanks, falcons, should I say, raiders, Drukhari raiders, another one. They have a little base, but the rest of the model pings outwards, which is great because it gives you more options. And how the rules are written at the moment, or they changed to say, those vehicles that are on a round base don't have to pay the pivot spot, like the pivot penalty, which doesn't make any sense, but that's the way to have it at the moment. So, okay, back to this now. So the vehicle moved, guys jumped out. Very, very straightforward. Let's say the vehicle was destroyed. Okay. Before you remove the vehicle, you do your deadly demise to all units around. Then you got to put your guys outside. Now, this is the correct way of doing it. You place your guys outside first. The reason why is, each model in there you roll a dice for. Every roll of a 1, I think, is it a mortal wound or kills the model? I think it's a mortal wound. I have to double check that, but I think it's a mortal wound or it kills the model, something like that. I should have checked this beforehand, but now let's just go on the understanding it's a mortal wound. The Thracians have 2 wounds, so you know, you have to do 2. If it's per model, then just, you know, you kill a model at a time. The reason you do that first, after you've done the demise, is because if you can't get all the models wholly within 3 inches of said vehicle, and not within 1 inch of an enemy, engagement range of an enemy, then you have to do a desperate breakout, which each dice you roll is a 1 to 3. You take that damage on the unit. Now, let's just move these over here for a second. Let's say the terrain was like that. Okay, and there's enemy units this side. The only way to put your guys is this side then. You can't put your guys through the enemy. They can't move through the enemy. If you fail, if you've got nowhere to place them, then you've got to do a desperate breakout, but that gives you 6 inches to move them. Some players will take the vehicle off after destroyed, then place the guys there. That's not how that works, okay? So it's very, very key to do it properly, because if I would have set, you know, moved them 3 inches first, let's say outside of the objective, yeah? So they would have been here, and then moved them there 6 inches, that puts me all the way over there. Okay, now you can already see there's like a 1.5 inch difference. So that's the difference between the unit coming out of a vehicle that hasn't moved and charging one of your units. If it's done like this correctly, they won't make the distance. They'll be like 1 inch or 2, or they might make the charge, but it's a bit of a more difficult charge for them to make. Okay, so I hope I've cleared that up for you. I think that's everything to do with that. What I'm going to do now is show you a scenario of how to destroy a vehicle and then the troops that come out of it. Now, I'm going to show you with the demons, but there is loads of different ways of doing this. It's the same, what I show you with the demons, the same sort of principle, same sort of idea, but you can do it with different units. Now, I've seen this explained with a Bloodthirster and a unit of Bloodletters. Bloodthirster destroys the vehicle, Bloodletters come in and, you know, pile in and kill the guys. I'm going to do it with Blood Crushers and a Bloodthirster. Right, so here's the scenario. Bloodthirster's charged in, Blood Crushers are charged in. Okay, now the new rule to Bloodthirster means he has a 6 inch shadow of chaos around himself. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, if combat isn't started yet, this is the charge phase. The hero has an ability that forces the enemy to take a battle shock test. Now with the demon army, if you fail a battle shock test and you're inside the shadow of chaos, you take D3 mortal wounds and your -1 leadership anyway. So the Rhino has a leadership of 6+, so it means 2 dice rolled together. I need a 6 or more on both dice added together, but it's -1. Yeah, so I've got to take 1 away from this. Right, so that's a fail instantly. But taking 1 away, a roll of 4 would make it a roll of 3. So there's D3 mortal wounds onto the Rhino. So that's 2 mortal wounds. Okay, Rhino has 10 wounds, so there's 8 wounds left. So now, with his 8 wounds left, still in the charge phase now, this unit of Blood Crushers have an ability that I roll 1d6 per model in the unit. Every 4+ is D3 mortal wounds. It's like a ferocious charge, I think it's called. Where are we? Oh, Brass Stampede, sorry. So that's 3d3 mortal wounds. Okay, so we just actually destroyed the tank there. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mortal wounds. Okay, so it's down to 1 wound left, which is, you know, fair enough. I honestly, when I was going to do this scenario, I thought he had 8 wounds, but 10 wounds, yeah. So you can see it's 1 wound left. So now we're going to the combat phase. Okay, And now I would activate these guys. Now I'm not going to roll dice because these guys will actually destroy this. And then the Bloodthirster will come in and kill it. But let's just presume, for all argument's sakes, that the Rhino was destroyed. Okay? So I roll, does it explode? Deadly demise. A natural 6 I need? Nope. So it doesn't explode. Now I've got to place the guys out so they're within 3 inches of said vehicle. Yeah? But not within 1 inch of my guys. And as you can see how this is laid out, it's going to be very difficult for them. They're going to be 1 inch away from my guys at least, but they're still going to be within piling range, which I'll explain in a second. So I'm going to put them out and then do the roll for you on camera. Right, just to clarify, it's everything I've told you so far. For each roll of 1 for that disembarker model, unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Yeah. In addition, a unit disembarks from a destroyed model until the start of the control player's next turn. The unit is battle shocked, which is nice. Until the end of the turn, the unit counts as having made a normal move this turn and cannot declare a charge this turn. So that works in, like, if a vehicle comes forward and you overwatch it and destroy the vehicle, the guys jump out and count as battle shocked and the counter's being moved. So anyway, so you can see the guys all set up nice. I'm going to roll 10 dice. Every dice roll of 1 is a mortal wound. So that's 1 mortal wound. So one of them takes a wound. So he's had to 1 wound. Right, so vehicle's gone, it's exploded. They've taken 1 mortal wound. So now it's going into combat phase. Okay, now I'm going to activate these guys. So these guys can pile in 3 inches. Okay, he can pile in 3 inches when he's activated. Because they made their charge, regardless whether the thing they charged initially is there or not, when they activate, they get to pile in 3 inches. Now, let's just say, for all stupid reasons, let's just say there was a unit here, okay, and that unit there destroyed the vehicle. They've jumped out. Now it's their turn to activate. They have to activate and pile in towards the closest enemy unit, which would be him. Okay, so just be aware of that when you're doing this sort of maneuver. Let's take him out of it now. So I'm going to activate these guys and pile them in. The plan is to pile him 3 inches over this side, and then the next one as close as possible, and this guy, as close as possible, and so on and so forth. It might be him here and this guy on the corner here, where the other 2 guys touching up. I'm going to do that. Right, so they've moved up. Now, you have to put as many models in base contact with the enemy as possible, but then you can have base to base to base. They can fight. Now this guy here, as you can see there's a gap there, he didn't make it. It's just over 3 inches, so he wouldn't make it in, but he's base to base, so that's cool. So what I'm going to do first of all, I'm going to start with his attacks. He's a Skullmaster, so he has 5 attacks. He needs 2s to hit. Now the Bloodthirster has an ability that gives, his 6-inch Shadow of Chaos, but his ability allows Khorne Demons +1 to hit, in close combat. But you can't be better than a 2+ to hit. 1 is always a foul, so he doesn't get the benefit of that. So he needs 2s to hit. So that's a miss. That's 4 hits. He's strength 6. Space Marines are toughness 4, so he's going to need a freeze to wound. That's a very poor roll. That's 1 wound. Okay, it's -2 armor save. Space Marines have 3 up armor saves, so they need a 5 to ignore it. No, so he takes his 3 damage. So that's the Marine that's on the wound dead, and the other guy takes 2 wounds, 2 damage. So now I'm going to go on to the normal guys. They're 2 attacks apiece. They need 3s to hit, but because the Bloodthirster's ability means they're 2s to hit. They don't have dead wounds, unfortunately, or lethal hits or nothing like that. They are strength 5, Space Marines toughness 4, so it's going to be freeze to wound. There's 4 saves, and they are -2 AP. So again, saves a 5. They save 2, and they're 2 damage apiece. So that's another 2 Marines go down. Now do the Juggernauts themselves. Right, the Juggernauts need 4s to hit, but they get +1 to hit because of the Bloodthirster. So it's 3s to hit for them. They get 4 attacks apiece. These are horrible beasts. So 3s to hit. There's that many hits. Now they are strength 6. So again, they're going to need 3s to wound the Marines. However, they have Lance. So what Lance does is it gives them +1 to wound when they charge. So they're going to need 2s to wound. But because of the hero's ability, the hero gives the Juggernauts devastating wounds when they charge. So any natural rolls of a 6 are going to be mortal wounds. So 2s to wound. That's actually delicious. So they're all wounded. They're devastating wounds. So unfortunately, this is only -1 armor save. So Space Marines 3+ becomes a 4. And of course, I'm a flurry of 6s. And they're only 1 damage apiece. So there's 1 Marine dead. There's a 2nd Marine dead. 3rd, 4th. So another 4 Marines dead. So all those casualties have been taken off. Now, this brings me to a very interesting thing I'm going to point out to you. Because I charged in, okay, let's say my opponent was taking the wounds off. His aim is to try and get the Bloodthirster more than 3 inches away, so he can't pile into nothing because he can't make anything. Okay. Now he's taking heavy losses. There's 2 left. They can probably fight back and maybe do something, maybe not. I don't think so. Just be aware of things like that. Now, obviously, if there was another unit over this side, yeah, a bit closer, then he could pile in there. But even as it is, he's on the objective. So even if he can't make it, which I don't think he can, yeah, he can. He's on the 3 inches. He can make it, which is nice. So now I activate him. He'd pile in. I don't even need to roll the dice because he'd pile in something like that. I wouldn't even have to roll dice because he has 8 attacks standard. I always give him enhancement. It gives him +2 extra attack and +2 strength when he's in Shadow of Chaos. He now has Shadow of Chaos around him, so he's on 10 attacks basic. Let me just show you his data card. The Axe of Khorne on the strike version. 8 attacks. He gets +2 from his enhancement. 2s to hit. Becomes strength 16, so it's going to be 2 stats to do, wound them. We freeze on maybe tanks and dreadnoughts. So it's, even if he was attacking the Rhino, he's going to be wounded on freeze. It's -4 AP, so they wouldn't even get a save against it. Your opponent might play, if it's a Space Marine player, might play Armor of Contempt to make it -3. So they'll get a 6-up save. But it's D6 damage apiece. So let me just give you a quick run through how that looks. Absolutely savage. Bloodthirsters are savage. So 2s to hit. That's all hit. 2s to wound. Unfortunately, there's no death wounds on this. So 4 misses. There's still 6 wounds. Needing 6 to save against them. They're D6 damage apiece. So there's 10, 16 damage. Now, see, another little trick here as well is, before he comes in, let's say there's a hero in that unit. Okay, you ideally want to try and kill the normal Marines first with the attacks from the guys and the hero. So by the time you come to the Juggernauts, you're hitting the hero, probably wounding the hero on 2s, with the chance of throwing a couple of death wounds on him because you charged in. Because the devastating wounds you allocate them after you make the normal armor saving throws. So say you caused 5 wounds on him, say, yeah, and he probably save, okay, he failed 3 of them, and there's say 3 dev wounds, then those 3 dev wounds he would have to allocate after he saved those ones, like roll to make normal saves. They've changed that rule recently, which is absolutely fantastic, because for me, like in terms of Doomsday Cannon, it's d6 plus 1 with blast, and let's say I roll into wound, which is pretty much 2s and 2s and 2s, and say I rolled like 4 devastating wounds and all those wounds, you know, even against a 4+ invulnerable save, let's say there's 5 guys in the unit, 4+ invulnerable save, so there's 3 guys dead straight away, and then the other 2, okay, so then that would be the 4th guy dead. Dev wounds heals the next guy. The hero then takes 3 lots of dev wounds from a Doomsday Cannon, which is 4 damage apiece. That's 12 damage. You know, I think that rule's actually changed so much better. I think before you'd allocate, oh, I'm going to take dev wounds off this guy, and you know, this hero's going to try and do the vulnerable save, which is some magical 3+, or you know, something like that. But yeah, let's say you destroy a vehicle with troops inside and get the troops out. Now, this is an extreme combination here, okay, with the Bloodthirster, and you know, the Bloodthirster could probably do it by himself, destroy the vehicle, and then these guys could pile in and wipe the guys out. If that's the way you want to do it, it makes it a bit easier. Bloodthirster also has an ability at the end of the combat phase. I pick 1 enemy unit in base contact with him, and I roll 8d6. Every 4+ is a mortal wound. On average, it's about 4 mortal wounds. 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 mortal wounds there. So even when you've defeated an enemy unit and consolidated into another enemy unit, at the end of the combat phase, he can do that ability then. So the Bloodthirster for me is a must-have in any demon army. But yeah, there's different combinations you can do it, not just with demons. There's combinations you can do it with, you know, Space Marines and Tyranids, and everyone has the little combinations that you can do put together. But the best one that I know of is this combination. Now, even if it was a Bloodthirster and say a Great and Clean one, or even Bellicor, both charging the same thing, one smashing the vehicle, the other one smashing the unit. You know, see, let's just say we charged in, the Bloodthirster destroyed the Rhino, the guys piled out. Bloodthirster can't pile in now, but after these guys have activated and they've come in, done whatever, he can then consolidate 3 inches into them, and then in the combat phase do his ability. So he's a must-have for any demon player. And yes, this is a kit-based one. If you want to see the full video for that one, that's on the channel. But there we have it, guys. Right, so that's pretty much vehicles. There are other vehicles, aircraft. Okay. Now, I don't have aircraft. I do want to get a few just because I think they're fantastic models, but I think they'll be great on the table. My understanding with aircraft is, I think pretty much all of them have a 20-inch move. But you can't pivot them, then move. You have to move them in a straight line. The full distance. You can't move in part, you have to move in the full distance, 20 inches. I think, because I haven't played one on the table yet, but I believe once you've moved them, then you can pivot. Okay? So then your next turn, then you move the full distance again, pivot. Now you're thinking 20 inches, that's going to be, you know, you're pretty much zipping around the table. Yeah. I don't think aircraft can score points for holding objectives or actions because they're 20-inch moves. They can fly really quickly. I might be wrong on that though. Again, I haven't used one on the table yet. But what I understand as well is if it flies 20 inches and it goes off the table, your next turn it comes back on from the same spot. Come back the other way. Okay? Again, I could be wrong on that because I haven't used aircraft yet. I do want to get a few and just, you know, chuck them on the table just for fun, see what they do. But I hope this video has helped. I know I showed you an extreme version with the Bloodthirster and the Blood Crushers, but there are loads of combinations like that you can do. You know, absolutely loads. But anyway, guys, any questions or comments, chuck them below as always. If you're new to the channel, you're seeing this for the first time, hit the subscribe button because it costs you nothing. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss anything. Everyone give the video a thumbs up so it triggers YouTube to share this video to more people and makes this amazing community of you guys grow even more. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy.